welcome. You're tuned into Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Shree Sharma and with me Sharmila Joshi. And viewers, this is the show where you get answers for all your stock-related queries. In a short while from now, we will connect with our experts to get your stock-related queries answered and shared. As we see that all of our viewers are concerned what to buy, the new opportunities, where are some trading ideas. And today, we hope that all these viewers must be in the profits because all-time high levels, Cheryl, coming in for the Nifty as well as Bank Nifty.
Absolutely. Why only Nifty, Bank Nifty? You also have the PSU index, the financial index, the metal index. All of them have seen a sharp run up in trade today. And in fact, they've also hit fresh record high levels on an intraday basis. If we talk about them, yes, PSU counters have been the one that have got solid push in today's trading session or in today's trading session of the last one and a half year or so. You've seen all of these PSU counters actually perform well, and that's the case in today's trading session as well. But let's take a look at the screen right now because you have some of the counters that have trickled into the negative territory when you talk about the Nifty index. So you have Eicher Motors, which is down about 1.5% in trade today. Eicher Motors actually gave up its gain just after the market open as well. So you have Eicher Motors down 1.5%, LTI Mindtree 0.5% downtake, HDFC Live, HCL Tech as well as Infosys that have now slipped into the negative territory. It looks like the IT sectors are actually off the day's highest point as we speak. But if you talk about the gainers, then Power Grid, a solid move, about 10% coming in for Power Grid. The similar move coming in for Adani Ports as well, 9.5% uptick coming for Adani Ports. And not just Adani Ports, if you look at all of the Adani Group counters, a spectacular run for all of them, be it Adani Enterprises, Power, Wilmar. Also, you have Ambuja, ACC, all of them actually seeing a good run up in trade today. That's Power for you on the screen, up about 13% as we speak. But getting back to the Nifty list, then you have NTPC, which is seeing an up move of about 7.5%, Shriram Finance, BPCL, SBI, all of them logging in solid gains as we speak. And the advanced decline ratio, the breadth of the market is in the favor of the gainers as we speak right now. Let's talk about then the sectoral indices. And if you look at the sector indices, all of them are in the positive territory, seeing good gains in trade today, while it is the VIX that has eased off those elevated levels. So that's the way how the markets are looking like at this point in time, Shrishti.
All right, so great moves on the markets, and what we're seeing on the Bank Nifty as well, that we did see a little bit of blip coming in for the Bank Nifty in the initial hours, but after that, once again catching up the rally, more than 1,500 points of gain as of now when it comes to this particular index. All these banking names, especially the PSU banking counters, are participating very well. But with this, viewers, let's start taking all your queries in the show next. And for this, we are being joined by two of our very special guests. Kunal Bothra is live with us on the technical front, and Sharmila Joshi will also be joining us right now. And also, viewers, you can connect with us live on the WhatsApp number that will be flashing on the top of your screen throughout the show, as well as you can also write to us on our X as well as Facebook pages of social media handles of ET Now, and we will try to take as many queries as possible. So without further delay, let's kick start. And the first query that I have, Kunal, is coming in from Karishma from Delhi. She wants an advice on SJVN holding 2,500 shares at a price of 142 rupees. Good to hold on or move out and look out for some other opportunities?
I think good to hold on. I'm sensing that this could be a part of your bigger portfolio as well. In the sense you will have many of the stocks in the same category or at least in the mid cap end of the segment. But I believe SJVN by itself also is a good stock to hold on to. 156.57 was the previous swing high for the stock. Excellent volumes over the last 2-3 weeks for SJVN indicates that we could probably see a retest of the 157 plus mark. So since you've bought at almost the current market price, I would suggest to hold on. Even if it's a short term play, I think 157 plus could be a near term target which you can keep on the stock.
Right. Kunal, actually, let me, before I shoot another query to you, let me ask about what should investors do, because everyone anticipated if the exit poll went the direction that it has actually gone into, everyone was anticipating a rally. In fact, most of them have said this is much more than what they had anticipated when they saw the GIFT Nifty indication, as well as the way how the markets open up for trade today. What now? What next? Do you think that this rally will sustain? Tomorrow is the big verdict day. How should one position themselves just ahead of that big day now?
I frankly believe that this is not the end of the rally. This is the start of a strong, as well as a potential, a huge uptrend for Indian markets. So I think in that sense, the positioning has to be on the upside. Now, I'm sure that many of the investors who would probably have skipped out of the event and would probably have stayed a bit more lighter, they would be feeling the pinch because many of these stocks are up now 5-10%, as well as the usual themes, the PSUs, etc. But I believe that it's time to try and cherry pick and pick up quality in portfolios. I still believe that there are a lot many large cap names which are still undervalued in the sense in terms of technical chart structure, where there could be a potential huge uptrend at play for many of the stocks on the large cap front. So I think positioning over there could be also a better strategy even this time around. So I think rather than missing out and then expecting that the markets would probably get into much more stronger uptrend, I believe it's a very good strategy to try and start participating in this strong phase of rally. I strongly believe that the 21,500, 700 mark, which we tested, I think last couple of weeks back, I think that may not be tested at least over the next many months, as many quarters.
Right, so that's the way how the market positioning should be. But Kunal, I'm just looking at the screen right now to take a query to you, and I can see Adani Wilmar query, I can see Adani Enterprises query, I can see a query on Adani Power, and all of them are asking what to do now with all of these counters. Spectacular rally, they have gone ahead, recouped all the losses that it had logged since that Hindenburg report that had come out, and we saw the crash in the stock prices. They have recovered those losses, at least for most of them. Now what next? If you are a holder in Adani Power, Wilmar or Adani Enterprises, what should our viewers do who have actually bought at the levels where they are now sitting on a good profit?
So I think what matters now over here, Shell, is the time frame, because I think if you're looking at it as a short-term play, for the next 5%, 10%, then you may be disappointed, because it's possible that major part of the move in the short term could probably have played out. Now, what matters is that these are the set of stocks which can also benefit as well as see a potential medium to long-term upside. So, which means you'll have to have a time frame of at least 2 to 3 years, if not more, for many of these names, and then use a strategic strategy which we typically deploy, buy on dips, because when these stocks go into an odd phase of a correction, a 5% order, 10% odd from your cost price, that becomes a good entry point for many of these names. So Adani Enterprise, Adani Ports are the two strong names which I believe could be bought into at current levels, but then buying on dips strategically should be a much more better strategy deployed.
And if you already have these counters, stay put with them. Don't think about booking profits right now.
Absolutely, because history suggested many a time, Cheryl, that when stocks go into a very sharp sell-off, and then over the next subsequent years, when these stocks recuperate and come back to their previous starting highs, it's not an end of the rally; it's the start of a new bull market, which happens for many of these names. So I believe in that context, many of the stocks in the Adani group of names, Adani Enterprise, Ports, etc. The sooner these stocks come back to their previous swing highs, it's a resetting of the fact that the new bull market has actually started off for these stocks.
All right, moving on then, and Sharmila, coming to you for the first query. Good morning to you, and this query is coming from Sukumar from Chennai. He's holding 1,000 shares of Campus Activewear from a price of 295 rupees, and when we see that the markets are at all-time high, even the broader markets are doing so well, Sukumar is facing some loss, and that is indeed making him anxious. What to do in Campus Activewear? Continue to hold on?
I would think so. This stock has not had like the best sort of innings in the stock market. It's a fairly recent listing, I think 2-3 years old, and if you see it from the price it listed, then I think you're still much lower than that level. And there was an accident in terms that the numbers in between that they reported weren't good. But I think slowly things are getting back on track, and more importantly, if you look at their segment, which is affordable sort of athletic shoes and that kind of athleisure as it's called now, that segment I think is promising, and they are in a more sort of an affordable range within that space. So on the one hand you have the brands, and then you have shoes that they make which are at a much more affordable entry point and a good quality product. So I think that he should stay put, because the stock seems to be recovering from some bad quarters, and I think now things might look better.
All right, this one is coming from Ursita, who's writing to us from Mumbai, and she wants to know if it's a good time to buy Shree Renuka Sugars as well as Varun Beverages for a short-term investment. What sort of a stop loss should she keep for both of these counters? for the shorter term, Kunal, as well as any other counters that you think in that particular space looks good, sugar, or even for the matter of fact, the space that Varun Beverages is in right now?
So sugar I would suggest and avoid because and specifically Renuka Sugar could be one of the high beta stocks within a high beta pocket and which is underperforming right now as a sector. So I believe it doesn't make sense as a trade because you are looking to try and encash on the bigger part of the trend even from a short term play. So that's where I would believe performing stocks as well as performing sectors is where you should concentrate on. I think in that sense I would probably recommend OMC stocks even at current levels. Of course, not in the same sectors, but I think as a play, I think many of the likes of BPCL, HPCL, IOC, I think these stocks could probably see a potential much more decent upside over the near to medium term. So you can probably concentrate over there. And even for the likes of Varun Beverages, I think the good part about the chart is that it's come back towards the support end. I think 1400, 1450 is a short term support for Varun Beverages, but nothing exciting in terms of charts, in terms of momentum. So I would probably suggest a skip over there.
All right, and Kunal, the next query is coming in from Manish specifically for you, and he says that he's holding 1,000 shares of Devyani International. His buy price is 190 rupees. Should he hold or exit? Time horizon is not an issue for him.
See, you can continue to hold on, but I would suggest, if possible, if you're looking to add, then I would believe that from the same space, Bector Foods is something which I would recommend. I think the stock is trading at 1150, 1200 mark or thereabouts. I believe that's a much more better name in terms of the chart structure when you look at this over the last 3 months, 6 months, 1 to 2 years also. And I believe that potential returns over here from a medium term play could be much more higher. So maybe gradually you can make that shift from Devyani towards Bector Foods. But if you have additional capital as of now, I would suggest to start adding Bector Foods at current levels.
Okay, this next query is coming from V. Murli. This one is for you actually, Sharmila, and he wants to know about Gulf Oil Lubricants, Senco Gold, or even for the matter of fact, Safari Industries. These counters are actually under pressure in today's trading session. So he wants to know, does it make sense to actually use this opportunity to enter these counters today?
Well, I think from a longer term perspective, you can look at it because the valuation is a little high, but overall the way the numbers are and the businesses, I think that stacks up well. So if he's a longer term investor, sure, he can consider. Safari, I think I'm a little bit more positive on because I think, the way this stock has delivered over the last couple of years, and again, the segment that they are in, which is the luggage segment, there are 2 listed plays, Safari as well as VIP. And the way Safari has grown its business, the way it has captured the market share, etc., bodes well, I think, going forward. Their numbers, I think, were a bit were okay, and I think even from a valuation perspective, it looks fine. So Safari, again, from a long-term perspective, I'm okay with. Senco, I'm afraid I have never tracked, so I'd rather not comment.
All right, so that's the take coming in on Safari. But with this, viewers, let's slip into a very short break in this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Buy Now, Sell Now, and let's keep it going with all your stock-related queries then. And Sharmila, coming to you for the next query. This query is from M. Sudhakar from Hyderabad, and I guess he's writing to us for the first time. He wants an advice on Happiest Minds. He's holding 50 shares. Buy price is 1100 rupees. He's a long-term investor. Should he continue to wait in this particular stock since he's at quite a loss in this counter, or would you advise to average out a bit or move out completely?
Well, I think it's not something he should do right away. And overall, once again, I think the only thing that's gone wrong is sort of the price that the investors bought at. It's a good stock, but we know what's been going on with IT stocks over the past 1.5 years. And I think, again, the sort of data that we had come from the US has put the sector on a back foot. So I think you'll have to give it another 6 months and see how things pan out from here. And then if you see signs of rate cuts coming in the US, then that could be a good time for sort of export-facing IT stocks, and then maybe you could see improvement here. In the near term, we can't rule out the fact that maybe you could see a little slight more cut in this space. So which is why I'm saying don't average. To average also, you could look at a slightly low price. Maybe you could get that level from Kunal. But I think if you're a long-term investor, stay put with what you have.
All right, this one is coming from Carol. This one's for you, Kunal. She wants to know about Ashok Leyland. She's holding from the levels of 179 rupees per share. She wants to know any scope of further upside in Ashok Leyland going ahead. Isn't the buy price for this one pretty elevated? But given the fact the stock was also run up in the last 1 month, what's your take?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely has a lot of scope on the upside. And after this, this last 2 month, 3 month up move for Ashok Leyland, where the stock had moved from 180, which was a huge resistance for the stock for years, and the stock's killing past towards I think 220 mark, 225 levels, where it's trading right now. So I think it's been a fabulous last 2 months for the stock. I would believe that this could be a start of a huge uptrend for Ashok Leyland. So I would suggest a hold, and I think if you are looking at this as even a 3 month or a say 6 to 9 month kind of a time frame, then you can look at a potential 265 to 270 also on Ashok Leyland.
All right, Kunal, once again coming to you because this query is on Samvardhana Motherson. That counter too saw a good move, especially after the earnings and in the short term as well. Subramaniam from Chennai wants to know the short term view on this one. Can he buy again? He's already holding the stock from a price of 102 levels.
Yeah, you can continue to hold on to the stock. Buying at current levels could probably be done, I think maybe closer to 140, 142 kind of a band, because that would probably be the median of this price uptick which you've seen for Samvardhana Motherson. So I think 140 could be a better level in case if the stock dips down to that territory. I think that's where you can look to add or accumulate further.
All right, this one is coming from Aditya and he wants to know about Bharat Forge or Bharat Dynamics. Which one would be a better bet for the longer term, Sharmila? And also, when would be a good time to enter HAL? All of these counters have seen spectacular returns. And needless to say that everyone's expecting that if the exit poll or if tomorrow's verdict is as per in line with what the exit polls are expecting, that these PSU counters will see further rally. But are you of the similar view? At these elevated levels, make sense to enter these counters for the longer term?
It's a very big one, but I think without doubt, what we are really seeing is that most of these stocks have fairly good order books, and the numbers they've delivered are also good. Having said all that, just to tie it up with what you were saying earlier, I think a lot of these PSU stocks have already seen a huge run up leading into this election, and yes. Post the sort of noise on the results dies down, you will see an uptick in this space again. It's just that at this point in time, I don't think that this is not the best day or best week to really think of adding these stocks. Having said that, I'm positive on all of them from a longer term perspective.
All right, moving on to the next query, and this query is coming in from Kishore Bajaj and Kunal. If we can help him with a couple of stocks that he is already holding. Firstly is L&T Finance. He bought the shares at a price of just 51 rupees. He's sitting at good profits in this one. But on the flip side, he's holding IndusInd Bank. It's been 5 years that he's been holding this counter. His buy price is 1700 rupees. What to do in both of these names? Sell or hold?
Undoubtedly, I think it's a hold for both of these names. L&T Finance is a fabulous kind of a chart, and I remember I think the stock, which was almost at 80, 85 many years back, has gradually moved on to that 100, 150 plus mark where it's trading right now. I strongly believe that potentially over the next 1 year, the stock could scale past above even the 200 levels, which means a further upside of at least another 20 to 30% could be in the offing for L&T Finance. I would suggest a hold there. Now, IndusInd Bank could be a strange case because the stock has gone through one of the toughest times in the last 3-4 years, falling off from I think 1700 mark towards at one point it was sub 1000 or levels in 2020-21, and from there the stock has started to get into a recovery phase so far. So I believe that the stock has gone through one of the worst times. I believe now the good times could probably start back again for IndusInd Bank. Banking sector, private sector banking names is where there were huge amount of short positions. So I think in that aspect also, you could see many of the erstwhile underperforming private sector banking names making a very strong comeback for themselves. So you should not be missing out on the next possible big uptrend for the sector. And I believe in that sense, you should hold on to IndusInd Bank also.
All right, this one is coming in from Alok. He wants to know about Yes Bank. He's bought over 2,000 shares of Yes Bank at a level of 27.2 5 rupees or sorry 27.2 rupees per share. Kunal, in the next 2 years, 40 rupees per share is likely on this one?
I'm not too much of a fan for this kind of a chart because it's very high beta, extremely volatile. I remember I think just about some 3-4 months back, the stock had jumped up to 30-32 levels, and then instantly in the next 3-4 weeks, the stock had come back to that starting point of the breakout around 20 to 23 mark. So these kind of high beta charts, high beta stocks generally should not be taken as good long-term bets. I believe that even the large cap formidable names, HDFC Bank, etc., are available still at much cheaper levels as compared to their all-time high levels. Axis Bank is something which you can consider buying. ICICI Bank is another quality pedigree name. So I would believe that shifting on to those large cap private sector banking names, more formidable ones, could be a better strategy.
All right, Sharmila, coming to you for the next query. This one is coming from Ajay, and he wants an advice on a couple of names where he's looking to make a fresh investment. Firstly, Zomato. The stock post the earnings was seen to be a bit under pressure, but is this a good time to enter afresh? Other than that, among Oil India as well as ONGC, any stock that you like for a fresh entry here?
Okay, so coming to Zomato, I think the Blinkit venture has great possibilities going ahead, and we are already seeing that its contribution in their numbers is doing better. So, and the stock has sort of been through a lot of we saw the sell-off, etc., and now it seems to be better placed even in terms of numbers. So, I think if you're a longer-term investor, what you can probably do is start buying into the stock and then sort of stagger your buying is what I would say. Don't buy it all at once because we have seen a bit of a run up in Zomato. So you could see some in terms of valuations, a little rationalization happening there. The other query on Oil India and ONGC, is that right?
Yeah, Oil India as well as ONGC.
So I think yes, both look good from a longer term.
All right, so that's the view coming in on all of those three counters. But on that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue taking your queries. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. Let's continue taking all of his stock-related queries then. And the next query is coming from Raghavendra, who's writing to us from Andhra Pradesh. He wants to know about Munjal Auto, 300 shares at a price of 85 rupees per share, Sharmila. He wants to know whether he should stay put with this one for the long term. What's the long-term outlook coming in for Munjal Auto for you?
I'm not specifically tracked Munjal Auto, but I'm overall positive on auto as a space. Because I think that if we have autos doing, we've had autos do well for a fair amount of time. And if anything, all the indications are right by which we are going, then I think autos will continue to do well. And then I think the buying will come to the ancillary. So yes, you can stay put. Valuations look reasonable as a first glance from what I've seen.
All right, Kunal, the next query is on SCI. A viewer who didn't share his name actually. Okay, Karthi is his name, and Karthi wants a take on SCI. Is this a good stock to enter, and is this a good price to enter as well? Or if not, then any price range that you can help him with for a fresh entry?
So yeah, good stock to enter, and I think the prices are also reasonably moderate for SCI because it's not as if that the stock is overbought or has run up exceedingly high. It's not closer to its previous major highs. I think if I'm not wrong, the stock made a high which is around 290 odd mark, and it's currently at 255 to 57 levels, which means it's at a decent 10-15% correction from the previous swing highs. So current levels could be a good level where you can look to start buying SCI. If you are looking out for a medium term time frame, then I believe 290 plus could be a target which you can look out for the stock.
Kunal, coming back to you, Padma Siva Rao wants to know about Thermax, 10 shares at a price of 5,000 rupees per share. Wants to know what's the 6-month target coming in for Thermax?
I think it's been a fabulous last 6-8 months for Thermax. I think if I'm not wrong, the stock has given returns of almost 80% to 90%. 2,700, 2,600 was where the stock was trading 6 months back, and currently it's at 5,500 plus levels. So it's been doing phenomenally well. Now we can't expect that the pedigree of stocks like Thermax, etc., could probably deliver similar returns in the next 6 months. But what you can expect is a modest, maybe a 10% further upside for the stock, and then try to ride on the trend as much as possible. So I would probably suggest that if you've bought at lower levels, then trail your stop losses at maybe levels of 5,000, 5,200, and then keep on riding the trend on the upside. 6,200 could be the first target which you can look out for.
All right, moving on, and Kunal, once again I'm coming to you because this one is specifically for you, coming from K. Venugopal Reddy, wants a recommendation on ITC. Can this stock be bought at current market price, and in the next 6 months, any targets to look out for as well?
So I would continue to have a bullish stance on ITC. I believe that, but your time frame and your risk appetite is something which is very important over here. You may not get 5%, 10% swing up move in stocks like ITC. These stocks, they deliver over a period of time. So my assumption is that you are looking out for something on the medium to long term, rather more on the long term time scale. I think if that's the time scale which you are weighing, then I would believe ITC could be a very good bet at current levels of 420, 430 where it's trading right now. My sense is that say potentially over the next 12 months or so, the stock should come back towards the 485, 495 plus mark, which was the all-time high levels, and continue to make on new highs for itself going forward.
All right, staying with the large cap space then, Sharmila Joshi from Mysore wants to know about Infosys, 1500 shares at a price of 1,343 rupees per share. She wants to know what's the long-term view coming in on Infosys. No doubt right now she is making profit on her holding. What's your take on Infosys? No-brainer, a long-term bet?
The reverse. There are 43 shares at 1,500. It's 1,500 shares at the price of 43. So I really don't see the concern here. But the concern would be, I think, that the outlook for the IT sector. And, to just, I think a while earlier we discussed Happiest Mind. So I think the same logic, just wait and see how things pan out in the US over the next couple of quarters. Because that's where you will start really seeing any meaningful recovery in these export-facing sort of IT stocks. Overall, I think the disappointment was from the guidance from Infosys. So I think a lot will sort of tie in and depend on how things progress in the US. So I think give it another couple of quarters, and since your buying price is much, it's really it's too far away from the current price. I think you can comfortably hold the stock.
Sharmila, one more IT query coming your way. This one is on Sonata Software. Since we are seeing that the stock is in the downtrend after December month itself, but a viewer named Ron is still at profits in Sonata Software, and he wants your view whether to hold on or move out. And he also wants your view on Suven Pharma. This stock from the pharma space, he's in a profit too. He didn't share his buy price of both of these names, but what's the view on a fundamental basis? Continue to hold on or move out and look for better opportunities?
As we said a little while earlier, we discussed Happiest Minds and now Sonata. I think the danger with mid-cap IT spaces that the earnings tend to be a little lumpy. Especially when things go sort of awry for the sector as a whole, and they are present in a vertical which gets more impacted as compared to other verticals, then you see a bigger impact on the numbers. Now, the opposite is also true, that when they do well, the kind of returns that they can do are far greater than what a large cap IT can give you. So I think, your portfolio needs a balance of both. I think Sonata, Happiest Minds, they do find a place in your portfolio, as does an Infosys. So, provided you have a sort of a representation of IT as a space in both the sort of mid caps and large caps, I'm okay with all these names. So I think, yes, if you're a longer term investor, you can continue to hold. Coming to Suven, I think that was the other query, right?
Pharma was the second stock.
I'm sorry?
Suven Pharma was the second stock. Yes, Sharmila.
Suven. Yeah, Suven Pharma. So coming to Suven Pharma, I think once again from a longer term perspective, the valuations look expensive, but from a longer term perspective, you can continue.
All right, Kunal. Ravi from Hyderabad wants to know about Bandhan Bank. 300 shares at a price of 235 is what he purchased at a few months ago. And the other one is IDFC First Bank, 50 shares at a price of 83 rupees per share. He wants to know whether he should continue to stay put with both of these counters. He's not making any profit in either of them.
Yeah, and I think both these stocks have been drags or underperformers from the banking names, private sector banking names specifically. Now, Bandhan Bank, the only concern for the stock is its lack of, or rather its lack of ability to break past about the previous swing highs, and it's been consistently making lower highs and lower lows over the last 1.5 odd years. So I believe, I think from 260 levels, the recent high for major swing high for Bandhan Bank, from there the stock had fallen down to, I think, as much as 170, 175, and now it's come back towards 190 mark. So it's still reading below its 200 DMA, if I'm not wrong. So I think on that sense, I would probably expect the stock to underperform. You may continue to hold on because these bouts of underperformance sooner or later could probably get caught up into, and you might see the stock coming back to at least 220, 230 kind of a moderate zone. So I think that expectation you can continue to hold on. IDFC First Bank, I would be a lot more bullish because my sense is that the stock had gone through a major phase of correction which is now behind, and the stock at 75, 70, 80 odd range I think looks very attractive, and you could probably be looking out for a target somewhere in the range of 95 to 100 over the next 12 to 18 months at least for IDFC First Bank.
All right, Kunal, coming your next query is for you. This one is from Neil from Pune, and he wants an advice on Axis K Technologies, holding over 500 shares, but his buy price is 300 rupees. The stock is up 8% today, but Neil has already made good profits in this one. Continue to hold on or move out and look for better opportunities?
I think it's time to move out and look for better opportunities. As I said, there are many pockets which are still available in terms of a potential medium to long term upside. I would believe private sector banking names, HDFC Bank, etc., are looking very attractive. IndusInd Bank is looking fairly attractive. You can concentrate there. PSU banking stocks like Bank of Baroda, etc., are also looking for fairly charged up in terms of the chart structure, where these stocks are coming back into a breakout mode. You can concentrate there. Mid cap PSU end of the basket are still looking quite strong, so you can probably look out for Engineers India, BHEL. Sale from the metal pack looks attractive, so there are a lot many better options to choose from.
All right, on that note, we'll slip into a break in this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now. When we come back, we'll continue taking your stock related query, viewers, so don't go anywhere.
Co-powered.
Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. Let's continue taking all of your stock-related queries then. And this one is coming from Krish. He wants to know about Escorts Kubota, Kunal. 25 shares at an average price of 3,600 rupees per share. Now he wants to know what's your medium to long-term view. Luckily, the stock, after facing some resistance around those levels, has surpassed those levels, approaching 4,000 rupees per share. Kunal, do you think more scope for an upside?
Yeah, more scope for an upside. One of the better performing names from the auto pack in terms of consistency over the last many years, and it's not over the last 1 year, 2 years that all of a sudden the stock has come into the limelight in terms of price performance. It's been doing quite well over the last 10 years plus. I believe it doesn't make any major sense to try and exit the stock just because you are sitting on good short-term profits. Unless you are a short-term trader, then it makes a different ball game altogether, because then you're looking at a 10% plus profit at current levels, which should be a good proposition from a near-term play. But if you're a long-term investor, then I think you should continue to hold on for stocks like Escorts.
All right, moving on to the next one. And Sharmila, this query is from Rajiv from Mumbai, holding DCB Bank. His buy price is 142 rupees. He's been noticing that in the past 6 months, the stock is just sideways. What is the long-term view on this one, and any targets to look out for when it comes to DCB Bank?
So within this sort of private banking space, this might be my sort of not my favorite stock. But having said that, I think that if you're a longer term investor, given the valuations and the numbers, you can stay put. And talking of targets, maybe 180 could be a target that you could look.
This next query is coming in from a senior citizen who's writing to us from Cochin and wants to know about Wonderla Holidays. The buy price is at an average price of around 380 rupees per share. Kunal, he said the stock went higher, surpassed those 1,000 rupees per share levels. Now it is on a downtrend. Does it make sense to stay put with this one for the next 1 year or just book profits?
No, I think stay put for another 1 year, because I think the stock has come back towards its 200 DMA. So even the last 2 years back, 2022, if I'm not wrong, the stock had retested its 200 DMA it had fallen down by a margin of I think 5% or 10% more than the 200 DMA. But then, the moment the stock had started off a fresh rally, it managed to surpass the previous highs as well over the subsequent 6 months to 12 months or so for these stocks. So I believe in that context, you should continue to hold on to Vandala, at least looking at the historical charts.
All right, Kunal, the next query is from Dhruv from Mysore, and he wants your advice on NHPC at current levels. Is that a short or a long? His query is on NHPC at current levels, short and long term view, both if you can help him with on NHPC.
So bullish on both time frames. I think even if it's a short term play, you could look out for maybe 120, 124 kind of a near term target range for NHPC, but the long term prospects are far more interesting. And look at the jump in volumes over the last, I think, 2-3 quarters for NHPC, and in the last 2 quarters the stock has moved from 70 to now 110 plus levels where it's trading right now. So it's not been that the stock has gone through a 10x kind of a jump in the last 2 quarters where you've seen these kind of volumes move for NHPC. That makes the case for medium to long term to be far more better for the stock. So I think on both time frames I would suggest a hold.
All right, coming to you, Sharmila. This one is coming from Prakash. He has ABB at around 3,400 rupees per share, about 1,000 shares of ABB in his portfolio. He has Apar Industries at the price of around 5,200 rupees per share, about 1,200 shares of both of that one in his portfolio. What are your suggestions in both of these counters? Because I am sure that Prakash is a very happy person given the fact that he's seen the stock see a spectacular up move. His buy prices are very attractive for both of them. What's your take? Hold for the longer term?
Yes, especially given the kind of price level that he's got at. I think the only caveat would be you probably won't get the kind of returns that you've seen in ABB so far. Having said that, I think the numbers are good, and we are sort of seeing a refocus on this entire sector. And I think a little while earlier you all spoke of Thermax, so Thermax, ABB, Siemens, all these stocks have done reasonably well over this last year or so. So as I'm saying, the valuations are high, so I wouldn't recommend a buy at this level. But since you bought the stocks earlier, you can continue to hold.
Right, Kunal, the next query is from Venu from Hyderabad. He's holding 2 counters. Firstly is Bandhan Bank. His buy price is 274 rupees. The other one is Yes Bank, holding 5,600 shares, and his buy price is 45 rupees. What to do in both of these names? Because in both of these names, actually, he's sitting at a loss.
Exit, I would recommend exit both of these names and look to deploy the money into better private sector banking names. I would recommend HDFC Bank at current levels. Axis Bank is also doing pretty well for itself, and potentially IndusInd Bank will also play a strong catch up going forward. So I think selling off these two and then coming back into the traditional large cap private sector banking names could be a better strategy.
All right, with that, let's kickstart with the rapid fire then. The first query is coming in from Satya. This one is for you, Kunal. He wants to know about GMM Fodlo. He's purchased at 1,650 rupees per share. He's suffering a loss in this one. Should he hold for another year, or what sort of strategy?
I would recommend an exit on the stock, especially on minor rallies.
All right, Sharmila, what's your take coming in on Aster DM? Shakir from Bahrain is holding the stock from an average price of 372 rupees. He's a long-term investor. Good to hold on, or can he actually go and add more at current market price?
To add more, you need to hold what you have.
TV is the counter. Kunal Sali Devi from Kerala wants to know about this one. 21 is the buy price, 1,000 shares in a big loss. What to do with this TV?
Exit.
Kunal, would you suggest to buy SBI at current market price for a long-term play? Question is from Dilesh.
Yeah, if it's long-term, then definitely a buy.
All right, this one is coming from Imran. He wants to know about Dalmia Bharat. If he can buy at these levels, what's your take coming in on this one, Sharmila?
Yes, I think the valuations are good. I wouldn't buy it.
All right, Sharmila, what's your view coming in on Rain Industries? A viewer named Ram Prasad is holding the stock from a price of 80 rupees. He's a slow mover, but for Ram Prasad, the stock is being a doubler. What to do next?
I think continue to hold what you have.
All right, NLC is the counter. Kunal B. Soumya from Chennai wants to know about buying at current levels and what sort of a target.
280 could be a target if it's a medium-term query.
All right, Sharmila, what's your view on Strides Pharma? A viewer named Siddharth is holding 20 shares. His buy price is 837 rupees.
837.
Yes.
You can hold the stock. My target would be to 950.
All right, Ramesh wants to know about JK Lakshmi. Kunal, 450 shares at a price of 851 rupees per share. 1 to 3 month view. What's your take?
Nothing exciting on the charts, but you can continue to hold on with a potential target of 850 plus.
All right, Sharmila, your view on HBL Power. Bhaskar Rao is holding 400 shares. His buy price is 180 rupees at a great profits right now. What to do next?
Continue to hold.
All right, and with that, we come to the end of the rapid fire as well as the queries. Thank you so much, Kunal, as well as Sharmila, for joining us on today's show, taking as many as about 32 queries, including the rapid fire. So thank you so much for joining us on the show and resolving all of our viewer queries. And viewers, with that, let's take stock of what exactly is happening when you talk about the elections. Remember, the polls have come to an end, the votes have been cast, and the fate of the candidates has been sealed in the EVMs. We'll only know the outcome tomorrow in the exit polls. Every single pollster has predicted a comfortable victory for the BJP-led NDA, with numbers ranging from 281 to 401 seats. The average seats for the NDA predicted by the exit poll is 350 plus. And interestingly enough, much of the BJP's gains are coming from South, which was their only Achilles heels last time around. And a day ahead of the D-Day of the Lok Sabha polls, the Election Commission of India has not one but two visitors knocking at their doors in what can be seen as a tit-for-tat theory by the opposition and the BJP. It so happened hours after a delegation of the INDIA bloc met the Election Commission, the BJP delegation also met with the poll body. Both delegations asked for the electoral process to be followed.
Repolling being held in one polling station each in West Bengal's Barsat as well as Mathurapur Lok Sabha constituencies. The decision follows reports of violence and clashes between the political supporters. To manage post-election violence, nearly 400 central police officers, police force, companies or over 40,000 personnel will remain in West Bengal until June 19. Now, results of assembly polls in Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh are out. BJP manages a comfortable win in Arunachal Pradesh, with the party winning 46 out of the 60 seats set to form a government for the third time. In Sikkim, it is a clean sweep for Sikkim Krantikari Morcha, with the party winning 31 out of 32 seats.
And Times Network is in the United States to cover the India elections, news, views and results. The network is all set for rollout with the coverage with 8 partners on board. Meanwhile, yesterday a display van drove through the New York City to Oakland Drive, the epicenter of Indian South Asian community in New Jersey, where amid song and dance, games, quiz and fun, the diaspora immersed in the patriotic euphoria. And today, the eminent members of the government community intelligentsia will converge at the Sheraton Edison in New Jersey to discuss the Indian elections, probable outcomes and the global impact. The event will be attended by around 100 members in the audience.
All right, but with this, viewers, it's time to wrap this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. It's a goodbye from me and Cheryl and the entire team who put the show together. Thanks so much for watching.